Hello, my name is Alexandra and today I am here with Mr. Bogdan Micu and we will discuss about the recommendations from the NOTSKIP project and the problems that we encountered in our street debates and roundtables. So Bogdan, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Can you please give us a brief introduction and description about you and your work?
Sure. So I'm an entrepreneur and investor. So I act in both ways. I fund startups. So I have different ideas that I usually implement them globally. But in the same time, I act as investor. So I get pitched by startups and I decide if I like any of them, and then I invest in them and I participate with them. So that's what I do.
So, and about your democratic involvement at local level, I know that you are involved in the municipality of Brașov and Bucharest also. So, can you please describe us?
Yeah. So beside my activity in business, I do a lot of volunteering. I think it's pretty easy to be unsatisfied with whatever, yeah, being your city, your street, politics, whatever. But I'm a big fan of actual involvement rather than just sitting on the edge and being an observant of what you don't like. So in this respect, I've been involving for the last decade in different institutions, but as a volunteer, so not as an employee and not as a political figure. Mostly as an advisor, a technical advisor for different institutions, where I bring my own expertise in IT mostly, but also in environment and environmental policies, and as an entrepreneur. So I've been doing volunteering for the Ministry of Environment, where I help them develop traceability system for illegal logging, to fight illegal logging. Yeah, so traceability system for wood activity, for harvesting activity, in order to fight illegal logging, and that was extremely successful. And from that on, we did several other projects that were also pretty good. In the same time, I got involved in a more local level. So because I'm living in Brașov, my own city. I went to the city and said, look, I'm having experience from many sectors and in many countries. I would love to show what I know. Maybe we do some projects in Brașov. So this I've been doing for maybe 8 years now, and there's been a lot of very beautiful projects like mountain biking in the mountains, what I learned from Switzerland, or underground parking projects, what I learned from Belgium, or yeah, I don't know, different other projects that usually help the environment and increase the quality of life of the citizens. That are just good practices in other cities in the world that I've been visiting, either as a tourist or as a businessman, and that I brought here saying it works there, we should try to do it here, but not as an advice. And this is very important for my own strategy. I don't go to someone and say, you should do this, and then I come half a year later, okay, did you do it or not? So there's more like a father figure, like, you know what you want, you know what should be done, and I'm checking on you that you are my employee and you should do it. I went there more like humble approach, where I said, I've seen this in other parts. I think it could work here. I'm willing to involve, maybe even to manage. I'm pretty good as a manager, so I'm willing to do the management part for free if you allocate resources, if you are open to the ideas. And in this way, a lot of things have happened, like especially I have some expertise in technology and mobility. So I managed to steer course into full electrification of our public transport. We are one of the most electrified public transport cities in Romania. Building a network of high power charging stations for cars. So if you are a citizen in this city and you want to buy an electric car, you have a really good infrastructure, because this was designed and I understood this ahead of time. So I plan like how it will look the city in 5 years from now. So by the time we finish the project, it was up to date and it was relevant rather than to think backwards. So this kind of involvement has a huge impact when you do it this way. While if you just go and tell someone you're not doing something right, you should do it differently, and then you come and check on them, I think that that system is not really giving you any results.
Exactly, when you don't have an implication in the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from your volunteering point of view, how would you rate the citizens' engagement in these projects? Are you the only volunteer at the councils of these cities, or are there other people that are trying to help the municipality?
So in order to give an example of how citizens get actually involved, the reality is that people want to get involved.
Okay.
The majority of them would like to contribute, but there is no real framework in which they can do it.
Okay.
And there are far away from decision point, and then they feel irrelevant. But to give you an example, I'm thinking of a place where the city hall decided, it was a parking lot, a huge parking lot, and decided that it should be given to the citizen. But the normal procedure is that you have to make a plan, you have to then auction the plan for construction, and then you have to implement it. That takes 2 to 3 years for any major thing. Yeah, and in this period, the parking lot would have just sit empty.
Yeah.
So I proposed to the city hall saying, look, why don't you give us a chance? I would find other volunteers and we'll make a plan that can be implemented tomorrow. And by the time you finish your auction and your own procedures, you would have already done something there. So there is we would fill a gap. And they were open. Let's say, show me what you can do. And so I effectively launched a post by that time on Facebook. Now I would do it on TikTok. But at that time on Facebook saying, volunteer at the city hall, looking for other volunteers with expertise in architecture, urban landscaping, topometric measurements, and geological experience. Willing to come and do some volunteering for a project. And to my surprise, it was the first time I tried that. I got a lot of messages saying that I'm interested. I picked a few ones which were with the right CV, and we made a working group. I do remember now we all met in the attic of the city hall. There's like an empty space that nobody is using it. And we sit down on the table, we were maybe 6 people, and we start drawing on a sheet of paper, and then the architects, of course, they have laptops, they start simulating in a specialized program, and then we met 3 times in weekends. So in 3 weekends, we finalize a project, design concept, we render it 3D. This was totally volunteering. They just came because they had the option, yeah? And we went to the mayor, we put it on the ground. It was A0, the big one, yeah? We just put it on the ground, everything. We said, like, this you can do tomorrow. You don't need to make any auctions. This is all just minimal intervention that you can do with the current contracts. And he loved it, and he immediately said, okay, we'll do it. And the next month, he already started implementing. In 3 months, was finished. Yeah. So we designed public space that was very citizen-oriented, with a lot of sports, kids area, which is still right now in operation and a very successful project with minimal cost and very fast implementation. And it came purely from volunteers.
Okay, and you mentioned Facebook and TikTok. So I wanted to ask you, do you think that people in municipalities from now on should rely only on online tools, or hybrid models can work as well?
What's a hybrid model?
also Facebook and TikTok and Instagram posts and posters on the walls on the streets or on lampposts or everything. Do you think
you mean
that
like the city hall?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
should rely on what, like communicate what
to
they do?
communicate, to find volunteers, to I don't know, make them aware of the next projects and so on? Should they rely only on digital tools or can hybrid models be used in this matter?
I think for a city level, hybrid model works,
Okay,
and for a European level, only digital tool works,
okay,
because it's just too wide to think that any kind of event would have any reach. So in a city model, I think posters of proximity to the projects that you are proposing would target the people that are involved. And also, I think what works really well, and we are now doing it right now, we have a project of old quarry, which is basically in the city, and we are trying to revigorate it with a new concept of urban living and urban spaces. And we did a social study for the people around there, and then they express their intention and what they want from the space. So this is kind of a hybrid, let's say. But when you come back to the European level, and I know this is a topic,
yeah,
how the European Union could make its policies more, I think they are really lagging behind. Like even me with all the tools and the teams and all the resources, I have really big difficulties in understanding their programs
okay,
and how to access them. Like it's like super far away. I have to pay consultants that take percentual fees, and it's at the end of the day just reading a website. But posting on a website is like super medieval, I would say. Imagine that every day at the city hall they have like a screen with where they post announcements.
yeah,
That this is happening, that is happening, this is I don't know, a sale or some an auction. Who goes there to look?
nobody, yeah.
Nobody. Yeah, nobody. So it's the same with the European Union website. Like who goes on that website to look? So I think what the European Union is lacking, and for this reason most of the institutions by design they lack, is they don't have a thinking of a startup or a company where the reach gives you something back. Like if you're a company, the more reach you have, the more you're gonna sell. So
Yeah,
you want to do the reach.
Yeah,
While a city hall or the European Union, the more reach they have, nothing comes back. Yeah, there's no relationship between your incentive to do reach and what returns to the institution. Because normally, if let's assume for the sake of discussion that the European Union would be a company or a startup,
yeah,
and they would only exist if they would reach a significant portion of the population with their programs. Yeah. Then what they would do? They would hire influencers to speak for the programs. Yeah. They would do Google Ads. They would do different marketing campaigns of different strategies. They would do billboards. They would do all kinds of things to promote their product, which is their programs.
yeah, yeah.
But they don't do these things because they don't have an incentive to do it. They are doing for the sake of doing it because, okay, it's nice to have a reach. But in reality, they don't have any incentive. So this is the problem. There's a gap between incentive and the actual activity of doing the reach.
Okay, so one of the findings that we had from our project and methodologies used is that citizens don't really know how the EU decisions, from Parliament, from all the councils, affect their daily lives. So, do you think that if the European Union and all its entities would put these decisions in a, I don't know how to say it, in a user-friendly way on Instagram, TikTok, and all other social media platforms, do you think that people will be more aware of how these decisions impact their daily lives, or it won't make a difference?
So let me ask you something. If Instagram could make a change to their system.
Okay.
Do you think that that change would interest you?
It depends on what change.
Something on the way the feed works.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah, because you are using that stuff.
yeah,
So you want to know, you want to be updated. Yeah.
exactly.
Do you think Instagram, if they would do a change, they would take extra steps to explain to you what they did?
I think they do when they, I don't know, they have a new update, they have like a little pop-up thing that explains you what's new, and I don't know.
And anyway,
Yeah,
you make an update on the app and you see the change. So one way or another, you are affected by it. So what I want to say is that if we don't interact with the European Union like we interact with Instagram, we won't see it, no matter what they do. So I think it needs to be, they need to design a system where we interact with what they do.
okay. So when you
Not ask us to search, or I don't know.
So like a new social media platform where, I don't know, you can interact also with representatives, or only see news, or what would the platform look like from your point of view?
Oh, it's a good question. I don't think it would look as a platform where I would search. At this point, it's useless to build any new platforms. It would be really useful if they would have an AI where I could just explain who I am and what's my life. And the AI would suggest, okay, well, for what you're doing, maybe check out this program, or do you want me to do it for you and do a summary, or make the submission form? Yeah, okay, then give me a picture of your ID and then I can submit it for you. This is where you have to go. Just a direct chat, like a personal European assistant that has its knowledge base from everything that is happening in the European Union, and on a continuous base can chat with you and understand what you are doing and what's relevant for you. Like, I had no idea there are a lot of accelerators for startups funded by European Union.
Okay.
I had no idea. And I had no idea that they have programs to collaborate with investors. I saw a guy on TikTok that was presenting this, as a product. Of course, he would manage for you the submission and get some money. But yeah, I would have no problem to go on an AI and say, okay, this is my life. This is what I do. This is how I think. This is how I behave. Update me every week on anything which is relevant coming from European Union.
Okay.
And he will give you, okay, a new program came. Maybe, I don't know, a new environmental policy because you are in the environment. Did you know that you can save trees because the European Union needs funding conservation somewhere?
Okay. And do you think
This is what I would
NGOs or local municipalities can have a role in this AI tool, or only promoting it, or I don't know, contributing to this platform?
Well, I think it's the same thing. The city itself is doing a lot of policies that many of the citizens have no idea. Like a new parking rule. I have no idea about that. I'm parking every day, Or something related to schools. Maybe a lot of parents are interested to know that now something is new in the school system. So, but the old way of the institution posting and then expecting the citizen to find out is definitely not working.
So let's change the subject a little bit now. And you mentioned schools, and I made a connection with another finding that we had, which relates to how children learn about democratic involvement and civic education by itself, because we have a full subject on this in like the grade school and middle school, actually. And from your perspective, do you think that this civic education is too theoretical and not like used and taught how to put it in practice? Like, we learn only what democracy means, how the parliament works and how decisions are made, but not something practical. Did you see this from your experience with, I don't know, young people or?
So look, the problem is that people in institutions are mostly middle age and old age,
Okay.
while education mostly targets young people. And that's the problem. People that have been educated in a certain way, they think they should continue the education in that way for the young people because it worked for them.
Yeah.
That's a discussion in itself, it will work for them, but that's what they think. So when you go to someone who's like 50 or so, and you tell them you have to make civil education and learn the European core values to someone, he would design maybe a program with some schools, maybe a leaflet, maybe a website if he's in his 30s or 40s, yeah? But the reality is that if you want to teach someone something, bring valuable people from its own category.
Okay.
So if you want to teach someone of 50 about core values of European Union, you put someone of 50 to think of a system. But if you have someone in his 20s, it's useless to put someone in his 50s to try to design a system for someone in his 20s. You have to put someone in his 20s. That's what all major brands are doing. People that are making marketing for H&M or for Zara are in the same age category as the people that are buying because they speak the same language. So in people in their 20s or even adolescents, they learn from TikTok. They don't learn from websites. They don't learn from books. So you have to go on the TikTok and spread the message. So my problem is that the teams that are thinking on a program are very far away from the audience.
Okay. But do you think that some intergenerational learning can be done? Like me, who I'm a person in their 20s, can teach a guy in his 50s how to learn how to use digital tools, and he can learn me back, teach me back other things. Do you think this could work?
No, I don't think it could work. Just because the background is very different.
Okay.
Like you were born with Instagram and you had to migrate to TikTok. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was okay. You had to learn a new algorithm, maybe different options around there. Like someone that had to migrate from a pencil and a paper to TikTok. First of all, it has let's say a feeling that it has a feeling about it. Like you don't have a feeling about TikTok. You see, okay, it is what it is. I like some stuff. I don't like some stuff. But a person that is migrating from a full system to another system may oppose the system itself. It say that TikTok is stupid. TikTok is just shit. Like it's superficial. So you would go into a moral debate rather than in a learning. I don't think it would work. No.
Okay. Okay.
I think people, you don't have to learn TikTok. Or you don't have to learn Instagram. You just have to be open to use it, and they will learn you how to use it because it's their interest to make you use it.
Okay, so how do you think learning democracy by doing can be implemented in Romania?
Well, that's a hard one. Learning democracy. You know, I have an experience that was very useful for me, and it relates to learning what's valuable in life. And I didn't really start with this concept in my own life, but I did a lot of volunteering for patients with cancer.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people that died while I was helping them with their journey through this disease. So I learned what's valuable in life by seeing how life can be very brutal and can be very short. So if I would have to teach some people about democracy, I would arrange for them to visit North Korea, I don't know, Zimbabwe, or other countries where what they take for granted here, it's not. Like freedom of speech, freedom of dressing. Just go and visit Saudi Arabia as a girl.
Okay.
You'll be very happy now that you are allowed then to dress as you want, which you are not aware today. You think that's normal. It's not normal. Yeah. Freedom of travel. Some time ago, to go from one country to another in Europe was almost impossible. You need to show money, visa, and so on. Do the same effort and travel into some countries that don't offer visa on arrival.
Yeah.
You'll see that it's super hard and you'll give up. So the way to learn democracy is to see what democracy offers compared to places where there is no democracy. That's how I would teach it.
And this would work also for teenagers, or only for, I don't know, people above the age of 25? Do you think this for kids can be as have the same impact as on someone who's already maturing and realizing these things?
I think for very young people, but also people in their 20s, it will be really good because they were born and they only have the experience of democracy. So for them, seeing something else would be a big hit. For people that have experience of pre-democracy, I think they are already aware of the value of democracy, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, but the young people are not that aware. They take it as a given, and it's not.
Okay, I semi agree with you on this one, but also changing the subject again. We saw a recurring message in the NOTSKIP problems that we found, that citizens tend to think that their messages disappear when being involved in local activities, because they don't see and they don't have actually a result after these discussions take place. For example, you are the mayor of some city and I come and tell you this. I give you the assurance that I want to help and I want to be a volunteer, but not any action takes place after this discussion. And I feel like my voice means nothing to you as a mayor. How can we, as NGOs, as volunteers of any local authority, can change this?
So this is a big problem. So for the last 10 years, I've been doing volunteering around mayors and ministers and institutions. And that's a recurring problem for them, first of all. How they show what they have done and how they involve the citizens. So here I have two opinions. For the citizen, their suggestions are not enough to make a change. So if someone suggests that a place needs to be changed in something differently, for instance, only the suggestion itself is like me telling you an idea of a startup. It's useless. It's the execution that matters. And the reality is that very, very honestly, most of the people in institutions are just common people that want to do a good thing. They are not bad people. They are people like us. The difference is that we have an idea, an obvious idea, which you just saw it on the window and you say this could work as a park, for instance, while they work in a very restricted space. Laws, restrictions from environment, restrictions from I don't know what kind of other limitations, money, and so on. So they take the idea and they make a piece of it or they change it in order to make it final. This constraint needs to be explained. It's not that the people in the city hall don't have good ideas on themselves, or they don't have the obvious ideas, because they are just citizens like us. But they have constraints. What I'm promoting to the people I know is that if you really want to do something for the city, or you want to do something for an institution, get involved, learn the constraints, and see what you can do in the constraints. Because I do remember when I started fighting illegal logging, My idea was, well, it's super simple. You just don't let them log anymore. And then I learned that part of the people that are using the forest are using it for firewood, and they depend on the firewood because they live next to it. Secondly, I learned, I didn't even know, that if you don't manage the forest may decay.
Yeah.
It's a certain logic of the forest to remain as it is. Third is that you have a lot of furniture on your own in your house, so you actually like wood. Otherwise, we switch to plastic. We don't like plastic anymore. So I learned that there are many stakeholders in the same subject. And my initial idea, it comes only from a certain view, environmental view, but not from the other person's view. So once you get involved, you still can produce significant change if you stick around and you take in consideration the constraints. So my proposal is to get involved as a citizen.
Okay.
And the model is purely volunteering. You become a volunteer in a certain institution. That works wonderful. And from the perspective of the city or the institution, to make it more, let's say, involved, I think it's really hard. I don't think I have a solution today. I'm still thinking about it, but it's hard. It's hard because there's no system right now on how to connect with citizens. Like you have a meeting, like you're saying, yeah, you have a meeting, people are coming, they express concerns, the city hall people or the institution people are open, most of the time are open actually. And then they go back in the office and they say, well, they proposed we plant 100 trees. Well, apparently we cannot plant on that street because there are some pipes. We have restrictions to plant there because we have a plan to change the whole area differently and so on. So you end up with 20 trees you can actually plant. You implement those, but there's no way to go back and explain that.
Actually, it is, because you have, like you said, there's some pipes here and we cannot plant trees. You can give that as a, I don't know, reason why you didn't plant trees on this street. And show to people that I know, I didn't plant 200 trees here, but I plant 20 because that's all I could do. But because of this. If you don't give people the reasons, you can expect people to believe that their voice isn't heard, because you seem like you don't care to give enough to give them reasons why you couldn't do this.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But this communication is something that has not yet been solved by anyone.
Of course,
maybe we will try, or someone or new technology will fix it. Right now, no one in the world managed to make this communication more than the meeting. So the meeting, most of the times you take the idea, they implement a part of it or whatever they manage. But coming back and having this dialogue that makes awareness, nobody really managed so far.
Okay.
There is, so the city I'm living in, it's one of the most beautiful cities in Romania. And it's one of the few cities where people are really proud to be in the city and to be the citizens of the city. In most other cities in Romania, if you walk on the street and you stop someone, like in Bucharest, yeah, or in other major cities, they won't say, I'm super proud of being from Bucharest. Say, yeah, it's okay, but you know, it's kind of dirty and it's not really renovated and it's a problem with the parking, blah, blah, blah. In Brasov, if you stop people and say, are you proud of being a citizen of Brasov? They will say, I'm very proud. I totally love the city. I love the atmosphere. I love how things are moving here. Of course, he can list you a long list of things that can be done better. But first of all, they are proud. And this happens because I think there's been a long history of doing things rather than saying you're going to do things.
So you say, sorry for interrupting, so you say citizens of Brasov have more trust on local authorities rather than the citizens from Bucharest or any other city?
I think, I'm not sure if they have more trust, but for sure, when anything happens in Brasov, people get involved. Like we had an issue with a tree that fell on someone and killed the person just because of the natural causes. And then the city came in and said, okay, we have to cut all the trees that are dangerous. And that was half of the trees in the park. And that was a very extreme measure that had some justification from the city perspective, because it would minimize the risk of someone new being killed, but it was too extreme. You don't have to cut all. You have to make a very delicate diligence, find the most risky ones, and maybe observe the rest. So then the city, the citizens got involved. They made protests. They demanded that they see the procedure and so on. Dialogue was formed. Mixed commission was formed. Volunteers with expertise from the society came. Officials came, and they figured out a strategy where from 600 trees that were marked for cutting, they decided actually 28 actually need to be cut.
Okay.
And a big portion need to be under observation or remodeling. So this is an example of initial forces come head to head, but instead of fighting one another, they channel their energy into doing something productive. So this happens better than other places in Brasov.
Like finding the middle ground between the authorities and the citizens. So as we approach the end of our interview, I wanted to ask you to give a message to the stakeholders that are watching this podcast, and what would you say to them regarding everything we talked today?
A very practical message from my point of view is that while the current technologies, especially AI, may seem frightening, I think this is the first time that we have solutions where institutions can actually reach and communicate their activity and their future programs efficiently if they start using AI and implement it rather than fight it or run away from it.
And also a message to the citizens that are watching this and feel that the participation in anything local is useless and they don't need to do it. What would you say to them?
First of all, I would say that if you go out of your home and you walk the street anywhere in Europe, you're a participant. So it's not like you're not a participant or you have to do some special, I don't know, form or going into an NGO to be a participant. So walking any street in Europe, you're a participant of the European Union. The fact that you can walk on any street in Europe, you're already a beneficiary of the European Union. The fact that you are safe to say what you want and dress as you want, you're already a beneficiary of the European Union. The fact that there are no bombs flying over your head, that's a huge benefit of it. So what your existence, it's actually a benefit of the way it's currently designed. It's a benefit of the European Union. Now, any system has its flaws.
Of course.
That's clear, yeah. Any system can be done better, but I invite anyone that thinks that what we have is not good and needs to be changed in a different direction, go visit North Korea.
Okay. Thank you for our discussions today. I think they were productive, and I think that we came to some conclusions from your answers. So thank you for joining, and we'll invite you to watch the podcast once we post it.
Okay, my pleasure.